All right, all right, all right. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Okay, great to see you, man. I missed you. Were we together? Yeah, we were together last week, but I just got a chance to post your video today, like an hour ago. So
Um,
you're gonna have two videos in one day today.
I have my homework. It's just that I didn't send you it.
Well, hold off on it for tomorrow. Send it to me, and then we'll go over that first thing not tomorrow, first thing next week, next Wednesday. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Anything I need to know about your day, about your week?
We planted like four. I don't know what they are, but we planted some bushes or something.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
Somewhat.
I was invited to come to your house. I might take y'all up on that. You might see Instructor Benjamin Ballard at your house in the not too distant future.
Where are you?
I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. When you get a chance, look at that on the map and see how far away it is.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's pull up our notes. We got a lot to cover, and interestingly enough, we're going to be talking about planting seeds a little bit in today's lesson. That makes me a mind reader, doesn't it?
No.
What is that, a coincidence?
No.
What is it? How,
Uh,
how in the world were you planting seeds today? And I'm going to teach a lesson that I didn't tell you I was going to teach that includes the lesson on planting seeds. Tell me how that happened.
you're not a mind reader, and it's not a coincidence.
Or
I'm
is it a coincidence?
I'm the mind reader.
Oh, yeah. So you knew I was going to teach on planting seeds. So you went out and went through all the work of planting the seeds just to prove that you knew what I was thinking. Is that it? Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, Doctor.
All
Assalamu
right.
alaikum.
Is he keeping you busy?
Very busy.
Is
Very
he doing
busy.
his homework? That's the important thing.
Yes, he is. He's doing all of the work. It's
Oh, all
it's
of the work.
easy. It's easy street on my side of the fence.
Oh my
He
God,
makes it
is it?
easy for me. I'm telling
We'll have to do something about that.
you.
He's
Give
supposed
him.
to work. Why are you making it so easy for him?
It's for your
Assalamu
mortgage.
Yeah,
alaikum.
all right. Alaikum salam. He loves it. He loves it. He loves it. All right.
Bye.
Okay. All right. You ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me find my notes and be ready to roll. Here we go. So we're going to be talking about a couple of things beginning today. I've entitled this one, Mahdi Learns Meanings for the words dua and salat. We're only going to get to the word dua today because what I have to say about that word is quite extensive. Do you know what extensive means?
Yeah, prolonged or like
Yeah,
long.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this is part one, and we're beginning this on Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. So I'm going to begin by giving you the dictionary meaning for where the word dua comes from. So this would be the root letter words, if you will, for the word dua. Have you ever heard of the word dua? Making dua?
Yeah, it's like praying.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the Quran's word for praying. Now, some people might say, oh, I thought the Quran's word for praying was this next word, salat. No, it's not. And we'll talk about that next week. Hmm?
Isn't Salat like a different type of prayer?
No, salat is not prayer at all.
Oh, okay.
No, the only word in the Quran for praying is dua. Let's say the official word for praying in the Quran is dua. Now, many people around this planet Earth will disagree with what I just told you, but so be it. I can prove what I'm saying. They can't. All right. Yeah. Every different word in the Quran means something different, and no two words mean exactly the same thing. So we'll prove that from the Quran and from the language and from the letters, the fitra-based letters that you're learning. You'll see it all come together as we continue. So I want you to begin by reading this meaning. This is from the Lane's Lexicon. It's an online dictionary that anybody can access. And you'll notice that most Arabic words contain 3-letter combinations. They're called trilateral root words. Can you say that?
Trilateral root words.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes we might call them triconsonantal because most of the letters are going to be consonants and not vowels. All right, so start reading. Let's see what you got here.
Dal and Wa.
Okay, let
Wow.
me pronounce that middle letter for you correctly. Ein.
Dal and Wa.
Very good. Okay, go.
To seek, desire, ask, demand, call upon, invoke, ascribe, cry out, call out to, pray, supplicate, petition, require, need, summon, invert, assert.
Not invert. Look at that word again.
Invite.
Yep.
Invite.
Mm-hmm.
Assert, succor, e.g. in phonetic.
Yeah, that part is not important. So
Oh,
we'll leave that alone, and we'll leave the adopted son part out. That's not significant for what we're talking about. Okay. All right. So those are the letters that give us the word dua. Now I'm going to take you to a direct verse from the Quran where this word is being used in different forms. So this is from Surah 2, verse 186. And Surah 2 is called, can you pronounce that?
Al-Baqarah.
Very good. And they say it means?
The cow.
Okay. It's not all the way true, though. It means the heifer. Now, as a young farm boy.
It is the cow. It's not the cow, but it's like the female cow. But it's not a cow yet.
Is there a male cow?
Yeah.
What's it called? A cow?
Bull.
Okay. Then it's a bull. It's not a cow. All cows are female.
Yeah.
All bulls are male. Now, I want you to tell me the difference between a heifer and a cow. Go.
So the difference between a heifer and a cow is that the heifer is the heifer it's not cow yet until it has babies, until it has offspring.
Very good. So when does it become a heifer? What is it born as?
It is what is it called?
A baby cow is called
Catholic. No, not Catholic. I was thinking
that's a good consonantal connection though.
Like I was thinking like some other thing. And then I mixed it up with calf, so then I said cackling.
but hey, you know that the letter H in heifer and the letter K in kafir are consonantally connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If they're gutturals from the back of the throat. Heifer, kafir, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they both have the F and the R letters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean as far as numetics is concerned? They're going to be what?
Concerned. Or no, connected.
Connected, that's right. Consonantally connected and related in terms of their meaning. And I'm going to show you real quick how this goes. So you've heard the word kafir. You might not know what it means. Or do you?
Kafir. I feel like I know what it means. I just don't. Kafir. I've heard it, but I don't know.
It's a very bad thing to call a Muslim, especially.
A non-believer or something?
Yeah, that's how they translate it. An unbeliever, non-believer. But that's really not the best meaning for that word kafir. The best meaning for that word kafir is the English word that was produced from that Arabic word.
Calf?
No, kafir, cover.
Oh, okay.
You see that? So if I'm covering something, am I showing that thing to you directly?
No, oh, kafir.
Okay.
It's like yes, covering up something. I feel like we've done this before.
We probably have mentioned it because it's bubbling in your front brain. I can see it. All right. So definitely, if I'm covering something, I'm hiding something most of the time, right?
You're
Okay.
kafiring.
Yeah. Yeah. So kafir simply means that there's something that's trying to be expressed out of that human being, but for some reason, the human being is choosing to cover that up. He doesn't want that to be expressed. He doesn't want the idea of believing in a source creator to be something that he thinks about and has to be responsible for. So he covers that up. When it begins to well up in him, then, well, maybe there is a God. He says, nah, I can't be. I'm God. Some people walk around. This is what Pharaoh was saying. I don't know any God but me. That kind of thing. So he's a kafir. You understand? Now, what does that have to do with heifer?
Heifer. It have it's if it's not covering.
What is the heifer covering up?
It's not. It doesn't have any offspring yet.
That's right. So
Okay.
what if the heifer grows to be as big as its mama, as big as her mama? Is she a cow now because she's as big as her mama?
No.
Okay, then the heifer is pretending, so to speak. The
It's
heifer is
like
the heifer is
two-faced.
covering up the fact that it's really not grown.
Two-faced.
You might say that. Now we know the heifer itself is not doing this, but we're applying meanings from our human experiences to these things, right? So, here in the South, especially amongst African American people like myself, we have mothers and grandmothers who used to call their daughters, not so much their daughters, but sometimes the friends of their daughters, some little girl that was hanging out with their daughter who might be like 12 years old, your age, or maybe 14, and when girls become that age, they begin to grow in a way which suggests that they are going to be grown women eventually. In another few years, when she turns 17 and 18, she might look exactly like a grown woman. But there are some young girls who, when they're 14, they start looking almost like grown women because their body parts just start growing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. 1 second. There's a gigantic bug in my room.
I would suggest you get them. So as we wait for learner Mahdi to return to deal with his bug issue, I hope all of you out there in listener land are following the logic to its logical conclusion when it comes to the connection between heifer, HFR, and kafir, KFR. Anytime you find letters that are consonantally connected, it's going to be related as a theme, not as a definition in the dictionary, as a theme. That's the important thing for all of you out there in listener land to understand. As Mahdi, we might have to change the name of this class today to Mahdi Chases a Bug. What do y'all think about that? Put what you think about that in the comment box.
That's a really big fly.
Is it? Oh man, boy, those big flies bother me. I'm leaving all of this on the recording, We have to see you in your daily life, where you regularly live. And I guess smashing flies is one of the things you do.
Maybe they can learn from my fly swatter abilities.
It's very possible. Be gentle though. All right. So where are we? Heifer and kafir. So the cow is born as a calf, CALF. Did I spell that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know how old the calf has to become before you can call it a heifer?
2 years.
Absolutely correct. All right. Now, how old does that 2-year-old heifer have to become before she can become a full-blown cow?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, what matters? What makes that heifer a cow?
Babies.
Exactly. Having
It
offspring.
doesn't matter what time it is, as long as she has babies after the age of 2 years.
You're making a lot of people out in the audience very wise right now. A lot of people didn't know that. Okay. So yeah, no matter what, when it turns 2, it automatically becomes a heifer. But no matter how old it gets, if it doesn't have a calf itself as a mother, then it's going to remain a heifer until it dies. If it never has a baby, it'll be just a big baby Huey looking heifer. You don't know anything about baby Huey. That was a cartoon that was out when I was your age. The big overgrown duck. You might want to look that up on YouTube. Baby Huey, Huey. All right, it'll be in the recording. All right.
Huey?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a play on the word human. It's a play on the humans who remain baby-minded. They never really grow up mentally. You see? So they call that kind of person Huey, because they're not practicing the best of their humus mind. They're not giving you the best of their mind that can take those seeds in and grow plants. See?
They're not using much of their neocortex.
There you go. That's right. There you go. Okay, let's continue this. We're going to complete this lesson today, inshallah.
Okay.
You good? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to conclude this part about the heifer so that we can move on to the actual lesson. But the point here is that our grandmother would call that young friend of her granddaughter a heifer, because that girl came to her house and her blouse was almost all the way open, you know what I'm saying? And, and I mean, she just looked like she was pretending to be a grown woman. So grandma know that girl is 14. And grandma said, what are you doing bringing that heifer to my house? In other words, that little 12-year-old or 14-year-old girl was pretending to be older than she was. And that's why grandma called her a heifer, because a heifer is pretending to be a cow in its size. You get it? Mm-hmm. All right. So it's the same thing with a kafir. The kafir is pretending to be something that he or she is not. If they say, I don't believe in no God or nothing like that. There's just nature. Things just happen. This is all an accident. See, that's what the kafir says. All of this creation here, there's no order to this. There's no plan. There's no divine plan and all that nonsense. All of this just kind of happened. I don't know. I can't explain it to you. All I know is that it just kind of happened. So that person knows deep in their soul, when they look at all of this order that's out there, all of the planets aligned and the stars rise and set and the sun rises and sets, and the way we see it, it's not really rising and setting, but in our estimation, the moon is waxing and waning. They see all of these things every day, every week, every month, every year. They see a lot of the same things happening in creation, and their soul knows, that soul that Allah put in them, that soul knows that this can't possibly be an accident. I might not be able to explain it rationally or logically because I haven't studied it enough for that to happen. But I do know that nothing in the world, not even a baby, just comes out of nowhere into somewhere. There's got to be some logical process taking place. You agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right? The way plants grow and they need sunlight and oxygen and all these other things that we need to grow also. And, living things need to eat in order to stay alive. And then all of these things that are living end up dying one day. And it happens over and over again. It's been happening for trillions, who knows how many years. So there's a logical order to this creation that we're in. But the kafir will say, it's just all an accident. See, he's covering up what his soul knows is the truth. Does that make sense? Now you see kafir and heifer, they're both pretenders. Okay. All right, let's move on. So in this ayah, which is from the second surah or chapter of the Quran, number 186, start reading again with the English translation.
When my servants ask thee concerning me, I am indeed close to them. I listen to the prayer of every suppliant when he calleth on me. Let them also with a will listen to my call and believe in me, that they may walk in the right way.
Okay, so good. All right, so the point here is that everywhere in the English where it mentions prayer or somebody making a supplication or when someone is calling on me means Allah because it's capitalized, right? So let them also with a will listen to my call. See, anytime you hear the word prayer or call or supplication, anything like that, it's using the word of the day called dua, making dua. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that's a two-way communication, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it between?
The human people and Allah, God.
Yes, very good. And I don't know if you learned about like first person, second person, third person. Have you learned that?
What point of view?
Yeah. Can you tell
Sometimes.
can you tell who is speaking in this group of sentences?
Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, that's right. Allah is speaking. Now, is Allah speaking in the first person, meaning he is saying this like I and me, or is he saying we, or is he saying, who's speaking? Is he speaking first person, or is he speaking about other people and not the person he's talking to directly? I mean, who's is it between? In other words, is this between Allah and me?
No, it's between other people.
Where are the other people?
Well, he's talking. Oh wait, never mind. It's yeah, yeah.
Well, look real good now, because you're right.
Oh, I need tissue.
Yeah. Mahdi will return after station identification.
That was a good sneeze. Whew.
Yeah, you needed that. You needed that. All right. Okay. All right. So let's speed this up a little bit. This is between Allah and his servant, as you said, the human being. Okay. But it doesn't start out that way. It starts out with Allah speaking to somebody else about his servant. Right? When my servants ask thee concerning me, then Allah's attention turns directly towards the person in question. I am indeed close. They put in brackets to them as though he's still speaking to the prophet, but he's not. He turns his attention away from asking the prophet to deliver this message, and Allah delivers the message himself. Can you imagine that? Allah says to the prophet, take this to Benjamin Bilal's address. And then, no, never mind. I'll deliver it myself. Can you imagine how, oh man, what a feeling that is, that Allah said, no, I'm not even going to send this one through the prophet per se. I'm going to go to his door myself, ring his bell, and hand him this package. That's special. If important people do that, take time out of their busy schedule to come see you and answer your questions and assist you in your needs, that's a very special thing. So this makes Allah very special in the life of any people who believe in a source creator. It doesn't have to be Muslim. You can be Jewish, you can be Christian, you can be Sabian, you can be Buddhist, you can be Hindu, you can be ideas that are not fully accepted in the Quran as pure beliefs. But nevertheless, Allah is very, very caring and compassionate with his human creatures, just like he is with all creatures, but particularly the human creature, because the human creature has been given something by Allah that no other creature has gotten. Do you know what that is? What makes humans different than all these other living creatures?
The soul.
Okay. And what is it about the soul that makes them different?
You can communicate with God, and well,
You're getting there. That was a good answer.
you have a communication with God no other animal has.
That's right. So does that mean then that the soul probably is also connected or related to the intellect?
Yes.
Okay. So these other creatures don't have active intellects like humans do. So a lot of people like to speak about the soul as though it has nothing to do with how we think and how we process information in the intellect. But according to your explanation, the soul and the intellect occupy the same space, so to speak. So the soul knows how to think. And the Quran tells us that. It speaks about soul and its ability to differentiate between wrong and right things. So that's
so animals have an intellect and all, but it's not as complicated as ours. Like they can't do calculus like we can. They can't do like, this multiplied by pi equals this divided by 2 into a fraction.
right. That's absolutely correct. And they make decisions, but their decisions are instinctive. They're already clocked into their genes, into their genetics. Our decisions are not all clocked into our genetics. It has to do with what you just explained, that we actually make this conscious decisions. They're not making those decisions consciously to build a nest, for their bitty birds and that kind of thing, right? With the dogs, their pups, they do that instinctively.
Our decisions are more adaptive.
Yeah,
to the
that's right.
situation.
That's correct. That's correct. Many of them are culturally adaptive, and some of them are just circumstantially adaptive based on what happened at that particular moment. And we made a decision to do something that particular moment, right? So absolutely correct. All right, we're making progress here. Let's continue. So this is a two-way conversation between Allah and his servant. Put yourself in that spot right there, his servant, the one who believes in him, the one who accepts his guidance. So this is telling us something right away about the word dua and the letters that the word dua are comprised of, beginning with the letter dal, which is the Arabic D, dal, okay? And that would be this letter right here. You see that letter right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I were to blow it up, and I'll do it for you next week, you'll see that it looks something like a boomerang. You ever have a boomerang?
Nope, never used one.
Okay. Have you seen people with one? And have you've seen people throw a boomerang?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you throw a boomerang?
Comes back at you.
That's right. It's a two-way communication.
Oh, so when you communicate, it's like it's like, and then God, it's like God throws it back at you.
That's right. You asked him for something. He says back at you. I'm throw it back to you, right? But it's your responsibility to catch it, right? So the human being, when we ask Allah for something and Allah sends us what we ask for, he puts that into our lives. He plants it into our lives. We have a responsibility, though, to treat what he gave us that we asked for, to treat it with the level of respect and dignity and honor and love that it deserves. Sometimes we ask Allah, we say, oh, Allah, I'm 10 years old and I want a little sister. I want a little brother. I'm the only child. And then Allah, he lets you have a little brother, a little sister. And then we treat them terrible. I'm sorry you were ever born. We start saying crazy things to our siblings. So that shows lack of appreciation for what Allah has done. But the person like yourself who would show appreciation and respect for what you asked for that Allah gave you, right? That's a different situation. That's dua. That's communicating with Allah and Allah communicating back your answer. We ask Allah questions. We ask Allah for certain things that we believe we need, and Allah sends us what it was we asked for. And most of the time, Mahdi, Allah is going to send you something even better and more valuable than what you asked for. You know why that is? You know why Allah sometimes, most of the time, sends you back something better than what you asked for?
Because you still you stay like in God's in God's contact, and you talk to Him, and you do good stuff sometimes, and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't stray away.
Yeah. And also, it's because Allah knows better than we do what we need. So that's why He gives you better than what you asked for, because you didn't even know to ask for everything that you needed for that circumstance or situation. But Allah gives you what you asked for, and then He puts some cream on the top of that cake. And He says, I know you only asked me for this, but I also gave you this other thing too. Yeah. Now go on about your business until you need me again. We always
So,
need Him, but until you ask me again, right?
so it's like when you go to the store, and then you're like, "Hey, Mom, can I get this thing? Can I get this thing? Can I get this thing? Can I get this thing?" And she said no. But then when you come by yourself, and your mom, lets you go, like, let's go the leash, and like, go get everything. You're like, you just sit there. It's like, I forgot what I wanted.
You don't even, yeah, you don't even know where to start.
It's like,
Or your mother says, I need you to do this work in the house, and then I need you to go help your neighbor because she's older now and she needs help from somebody who's got some muscle and some strength like you. She needs some things moved around in her house. And if you do it with like a cheery personality, like, yeah, Mom, I'll help Miss Smith next door, of course, And then she didn't say Miss Smith was going to pay you. But let's say at the end of all your work, you go home, you give Miss Smith a hug, you say, if you need me again, just let my mother know. And then when you get home, you find out that Miss Smith gave your mother some money for you. And she said, tell that boy to go spend it the way he wants. And then all of the things your mother was saying, no, 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 you can't have that. No, no, no. Now it's your money. You go to the store and you go, yes, 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 yeah, I want to. And you come home with all the things that you thought you would never be able to get, but it happened in a better way than you just asking your mother without doing any work for it and thinking your mother was just going to give you because you asked for it, right? The better way is that you worked for it, correct?
mm-hmm.
And those things that you buy are going to taste better. They're going to feel better. You're going to play with those toys better if you spend it on toys or whatever. It's going to all seem better because your work went into it. All right, let's keep moving. So
Also, one thing.
Go right ahead.
So, for dua and that prayer thing. So one thing I remember from Dal, from that letter in Unetics, it means strong. It means like teeth are intact and that kind of thing. Like one of them was like the teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so wouldn't it kind of mean like the dua is intact, the prayer is strong and firm?
Yeah. Yeah. So let's look at the next part because that's exactly what I'm speaking on in this next part. So you'll be able to put it together with what you just gave me. I'm glad you remembered that. That's great. That's a great memory. All right. So let's leave this by saying that the main point is that Allah wants us to have a one-on-one relationship directly with Him. Directly, not through a third person, not through the imam, not even through your parent if you're old enough. Allah wants you to have a direct relationship with Him. Okay? Like some people go to the masjid and they ask the imam, who, you holier than me, can you make this prayer for me? And, ask Allah, I need it. No, you're supposed to do that for yourself. Some people go to the church and they say, priest, can you ask God, and the priest says, yeah, I'll ask God, put some money in the thing there. And I'll take your prayer up to God and all that. Because people think that the priest is like holier, he's pure. You know what I'm saying?
It's like one of the people in my class came and could all of you pray for me or something like that. Like the more prayer the better. It's about you and the sincerity with you to him.
Yeah. What's wrong with your soul? How come you can't talk to God? Yeah. Well, I mean, why would Allah not respond to you
more than they would
when He gave you the same thing He gave the preacher and the priest and the rabbi and the imam? He gave you the same soul, the same ability to communicate one-on-one, two-way, like the boomerang. Throw it out, but you had better be paying attention when it comes back at you, right? Or it might hit you in the head and knock you down.
It's like there's no fun in making somebody else throw the boomerang for you.
Right.
it's like, hey brother, can you throw it for me? It's like, what's the point of buying it if you're gonna let me throw it?
Exactly. See, that's called a vicarious. I don't know if we talked about that word before.
No,
Vicarious is when you have some kind of emotional joy out of watching somebody else do something fun. it's, it's like people who look at the football game, right?
Mhm.
They're not in the audience and they're not playing on the field, but they're home getting all excited. Oh, run, run, just like they were on the field. Run, throw the ball, man, throw the ball. Catch that ball. And they're just falling out and laughing and crying if they miss the ball or whatever. They're experiencing it vicariously. Okay.
They're experience it tertiary. It's
Yeah.
like tertiary.
Tertiary. Yeah. Mahdi, that's right.
It's supposed to be secondary, not tertiary.
All right. One on one, right? It happens to you, you experience it, and then you respond. That's the letter dal. It happens to somebody else, and then you see it, then you're just experiencing it in your mind and in your emotions. But it's not you going through it. And that's been the problem in many religions, believe it or not, for a long, long time. They've been teaching people that you have to go through another person to be able to get to God or to be able to speak to God or to have God respond. You have to go through these pure people, or you got to have angels around you doing everything for you. And that's not true. You can ask Allah. He's telling you right here. If they ask you about me as though they can't come to me directly, tell them I am near, and I'm letting them know I'm near. I'm right here. I'm close. And I answer the prayer of every one of you when you call. And he didn't say that you have to be holy and righteous and without sin and all. No, because Allah knows the state of human affairs and he knows what the human being can fall into. So he's letting you know, here's your way out. Your way out is to come directly to me.
Oh,
But,
so
but he says, I will answer your call. He said, but how many with a will listen to my call and believe in me? See? So Allah is calling you, just like you're calling him, and he's calling you to be responsible for certain things. So why will Allah continue to answer you every time you call? That's what this says. But you won't answer his call none of the time he calls. And how do you not answer Allah's call? Because you never read the Quran. That's his telephone, so to speak. That's his, telephone is a two-way communication, right? That two-way communication, like the boomerang. I dial the number, I press the number, and somebody answers on the other end. That's a two-way connection. See? So Allah's answering my call, but when he calls on me to be good, to be right, to be charitable, to be just, to be honest, we don't answer any of those calls. We say, oh, who's calling? Oh, it's Allah again. Tell him I'm not home. So I'm gonna wait till I finish doing this bad thing that I was planning on doing. Then I'll answer the phone. Tell him leave a message. Well, he left a message when he left the Quran. You understand? He
yeah,
left a message.
it's like what's happening here. It's like, you know, I'm learning from you, but when it's tertiary and that kind of thing, how do you say it? Vicarious for me? Right.
Vicarious.
Vicarious. Vicarious. You know, when like I ask you a lot of questions and like I ask my friend and like you tell him, it's like why can't you talk to him? I mean, you speak
Exactly.
English, don't you?
Exactly. Let me say
And
something. Let me say something about that word I just introduced you to, vicarious. Can you take a chance and try to spell it the way it sounds? Vicarious.
VIC. Another C?
No, just one C. You're
Oh,
good so
okay.
far. You're good so far.
A
Okay, listen to it again. Vicariously or vicarious.
VICA.
Yeah.
VICA. R-E-U-S?
It's I. Vicary. That re sounds like E, but it's really I, and then O-U-S. So I just gave you the whole thing. Spell it back to me.
So V-I-C-A-R.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I-O-U-S.
Beautiful.
It sounds like vicarious.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Vicarious.
Yeah, yeah. English is a very tricky language. Arabic sounds exactly like it's written. English sounds like you need to go to somebody to figure out the codes and the sound.
It's like it's some geese. It's like, why isn't it gooses?
Yeah,
It's kind of like that.
yeah. Or like
But
we
like,
use the word phone. Why isn't it just F-O-N-E and be done? Why is it P-H? Yeah, how P-H? Is it Pahone? No. If you say Pahone in school,
no.
it's
It's
wrong,
like
right? They're gonna mark it wrong, right?
look, there's some mouse like mouse over there. Mouse?
Mouses,
No, it's not mouses. What is it then? Mice.
right.
What?
What's the rule? Why does the rule keep changing, right? But that's how English is.
Is it meese? Is it what how do you do it? It's
Mises,
mice.
I thought ES was plural, right?
Yeah.
So how did
And,
I become
and
plural?
then for moose, it's like look, it's a moose. It's like look, what's the plural of moose? Mooses? No. Uh, uh m- Mises? No. What is it then? It's moose.
It's
So you don't
right.
change
It should have been mice
moose.
or something, right? If you're
Moose.
following the
Moose.
same rules as the word mouse, moose, mouse, geese,
Mooses.
goose,
Something.
it should have
But
been
same.
meese. If like geese, goose, geese. Moose should have been meese.
Like no meese. It's just moose.
That's
Then
right.
what's the point of what's the point of saying plural then? It's just says the same exact thing.
Yeah,
Is it different? No.
because English is not fitra based. It's not based in nature and how nature shapes reality. It's based in how people who saw themselves as being very brilliant wanted to do certain things in language, including hiding certain meanings of words and sounds from the majority of uninitiated people, or what they would call ignorant people. You know, English has capital letters and small letters. Arabic doesn't have that. Why does English have capital letters and small? I mean, why? It's because, and you notice that the letters at the beginnings of words or of sentences, those are the capital words. So in other words, you have to be leading the sentence to be capital. So what they're really saying is that you have to be a leader in the society in order for you to gain or make capital. And you know, capital is another word for money also, right? So
Yeah,
if you want to be capitalized, or cap is the top, if you want to be the cap among the people, then you have to be the leader. And if you're going to be the leader, then you have to make yourself bigger than everybody else. The king has said, you know, the mufti says, or whatever, you know. And people have this artificial idea about what a big man is, you know, but a lot of it is just fantasy that has been sold to people as reality. So that was a
there
nice little aside discourse. But we're
there are
going
probably
to, huh? Go ahead.
some there are probably some things in English that have no purpose at all. They're just there.
So the point is that there's a reason why they use these certain words for certain things. And these things are related in their language, in the way that they teach their children and grandchildren. But most of that wisdom, which is what it is, it's wisdom, does not get passed down to people who are not in that, you know, gene pool or whatever. You know, they pass stuff down to their offspring. And the offspring end up knowing things that most average people are not aware of. And they think they need to keep that level of knowledge in order to stay as leaders and rulers in the world. But that's a changing. You know how I know that's changing? Because of people like you. You weren't born, you're not the son of a king, are you?
No.
Okay, that's my proof. But look at how brilliant you are. Look at how much of a genius I believe you are. Let's move on. All right. Two-way communication, dua, da'i, the letter dal, the boomerang. You throw out your request and it comes right back to you. But you have to get used to knowing how to throw a boomerang, because you can throw a boomerang and not really be paying attention to how hard you're throwing it or what direction you're throwing it in, and it'll come back to somebody else. It'll land on the grass, and you're not fast enough to go catch it. So there's a certain skill to being able to throw a boomerang so that it comes at least back in your vicinity, where you can run and snatch it or whatever, right? So it's the same thing with making a dua, meaning what? You have to be aware of what you're asking for. You can't just throw your request out to Allah and you don't even know really what you're asking for. Allah, make me rich. Come on, really? Allah,
What's the point?
make me handsome, make me beautiful. Well, what are you doing? Are you in the gym trying to make yourself beautiful? Are you
But
eating right? Right?
it's like you have to try before it'll happen.
You have to participate.
Like you can't, like he won't just make you rich, like you're rich now. Happy
Yeah,
now?
that's fantasy, but that's what people think God is supposed to do.
Rich does not mean happy either.
No, far from it. It can mean the exact opposite if you're not careful. So we're cleaning up a lot. That's why I'm spending the time that I'm spending on this, because you're opening up a lot of portals around this word and how it should be properly viewed. Okay, a lot of people don't know what we've discussed today in this last 45 minutes or so. A lot of people are not aware of the level of importance that dua is suggesting to them in the Quran. These are not regular words in the Quran. And it doesn't just mean like a request from your friend or a request from your teacher or something like that. When you're requesting something from Allah, it's a very serious matter, but Allah is also requesting something back from you, is the point in this particular ayah or verse. Okay, you want to try and get through a couple more minutes of the next lines?
Yeah, it's kind of like writing a letter to a king. You have to know how to write a letter before you write to the king.
That's right.
You have to know what you want.
That's right. It's like writing a contract. You can't just scribble words out and think somebody's going to respond to your scribble scrabble, right? If you're asking for something important.
It's
You
like
have to learn the language of the king or the language of the lawyer or whoever before you can sit down and write an adequate petition for something, or a grievance. You're writing about a grievance or something. You can't just talk about, well, that mother hubba. You can't be going cursing all in the thing you're trying to communicate. Who is this uncivilized person writing this stuff? No, but if you sit down, dear sir, dear ma'am, or dear senator, you have to know how the letter is supposed to be structured. So if you have to do that and you're writing to the senator or the president or whatever, your boss or whatever, you have to write the letter or the complaint if it's a complaint. Or if you're asking the boss for more money, you got to know how to write that letter. You got to find people who know how to write like that. And it's the same thing with making a dua to Allah. You look for people who have been successful in their life, in their relationship with Allah, and you ask them, well, how do you do this thing? Why are you so successful and still so humble and still so giving with all of the things that you have that Allah has blessed you with? I thought once you get a whole lot of stuff, you're supposed to hold on to it. No, son, that's not how that works. Let me show you how this works. First, you put yourself in a position to have Allah answer your dua. How did you do that? By doing at least some of what Allah is asking you to do. And it's really that simple, because Allah, does he need anything from us?
No, he's
No.
the one that created us.
Yes.
He made hydrogen, helium, all the elements. He gave us the brain. He gave us the soul. Without it, we wouldn't exist. And there's people that say we're God.
Oh man.
It's like, do you remember creating things? No, I don't remember.
Right. You barely can fix something that breaks in your house. Your bike is broke. You barely know how to put the seat back on the bike or the tire back on the car. Yeah. But all of a sudden, you're God. No, it doesn't work like that. That's the kafir. They're covering up the truth. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave this right here and wait, because the next part is gonna take us into like a good 20 minutes worth of new information. But I think we've given people enough on this one plate at this one time for them to chew on. So I'm going to let you speak your mind, whatever else you want to add to this, or you want to introduce a new idea or something. We'll do that for the next few minutes.
I don't know. Do you have anything?
Okay, then let me throw this teaser out there for our audience for next week, okay? Here's the teaser. That letter dal, as you heard Mahdi mention, represents something that is firmly grounded or firmly rooted, okay? And it means the firmly rooted tooth, like your teeth in your mouth are firmly rooted into your gums. So that is how firmly rooted your relationship should be with Allah. That's why the letter dal is being used in the word dua, because Allah wants our relationship, our two-way relationship between ourselves and between Him to be solidly rooted. He doesn't want it so that if a little nudge or something comes along, the tooth falls out the mouth. That's not firmly rooted. Or if somebody comes along and says, Krishna is God. Oh, okay, now I'm a Hare Krishna after I was a Muslim last week. And then next month, I'll be a Jehovah's Witness or something. But because your faith is not solidly rooted in anything. All right. So you can't expect to have your dua answered properly when you are not in the same place ready to receive it when it comes back to you. You throw the boomerang out and then you run off and do something different. And here's the boomerang saying, where did he go? See? So it's the same thing. So one of the things we'll be discussing next week is how the letter dal means that firmly rooted tooth, as we said, but the letter dal also means mystery.
Dal?
Mm-hmm. You people out there in listener land, if you don't hurry up and order your personal copy of the book called Nunetics, I'm going to give you the address for that. All you have to do, I'm going to actually put it on this piece of paper so you have no excuse.
So like a firmly rooted mystery?
Oh, hold on. You're going to get this. How do you spell Nunetics? Help me.
Nunetics.
Okay, Institute.
Are you just doing this like a spelling bee?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, INSTIUTE. You gotta put a space first.
No, because it's a website. You spell it as one word, .org. I'm going to make this bigger. Make them all small letters. This is my website. Got it?
Did I spell it correctly?
Yes, you did. Mostly. Nunetics Institute. You made one minor mistake, but it's okay.
Does it have to do with the institute?
I covered for you.
Is it the institute?
And I didn't have to be a kafir to do it. Yeah, you made a mistake where the T is, somewhere in that. You'll see when you listen back to it. If I'm wrong, I will apologize to you 1 week from now. NuneticsInstitute.org. You can order your book called Nunetics, and you can get all of this juicy information that Mahdi and I have been sharing for at least 6 months now. I think, I don't remember when we started, but it's been about a good half a year, right? Yeah, I think so. All right. So you're going to find out that the letter dal is also connected to the idea of a mystery. Now I'm going to give you a big clue so that you can begin studying this in the next few days. Think about the English capital letter D. See that letter? Mm-hmm. Okay. Think about what the half moon looks like. Sort of kind of resembles that shape, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Somewhat.
Can you, when you look up in the sky at a half moon, can you see this half?
No.
This half, look, this half. In the sky, can you see?
It won't like look exactly like that, but yes, you could see somewhat there.
But can you see this other half on this side when it's a half moon? No, right?
That part of the moon, light is not reflecting off of it.
That's right. So that half of the moon remains a mystery. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to give you one more connection, and that is dal. The word dal actually is a very ancient Arabic word for door.
A firmly rooted door.
Well, turn around and look at your door. How was that door able to stand up and stay there like that, even though you opened and closed it 1,000 times?
It's been onto the hinges. The hinges keep it like that.
That's right. And that's what your teeth do when they're connected to the roots that keep
Also,
it hinged to your gums. Is doing exactly the same thing. A matter of fact, do you know that the original doors were actually up and down as curtains? The door like the one you have behind you in your room, that came way later. The original partitions, they call them, or curtains, were hanging curtains where they were hinged at the top. And then they would roll them up in the daytime.
Like that. I understand that.
Right. Yeah. And then when it was time to go to bed, they would roll them down, and it would be the separation or the partition between the people who were going to bed and were, getting into the jammies or whatever they were doing, and the people who might have still been in the other parts of the house, or people who might have came over to visit somebody. Now they can't see you in your jammies, right? Because you're behind the partition. So for them, what is happening behind your door or behind your partition is a partial mystery.
I thought you were talking about like slide doors that open up and down. I was like, they didn't have that. I don't think that's possible.
No, not slide doors. No, the old doors were simply partitions, curtain partitions, or some kind of cloth or something, sackcloth or something that they would use that could roll up like a rug and then be let down at night and lifted during the day so people could come in and out. Okay. But when it's down, even though I know you're in there, Mahdi, I know you're in that room, Mahdi. How come these dishes are not washed? Okay, she knows you're in the room, but she doesn't know exactly what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? She doesn't really know if you sleep, if you're in there eating, if you're in there with headphones and you can't hear her, So whatever's happening behind the partition or behind the door is still a partial mystery, because you know something about what's being done behind the door. You know there's a person there, but you don't know exactly what they're into. Okay? So until you open the door, aha, gotcha. Or until you let the curtain back up, pull the curtain back up, and say, wow, I thought he was in here. He's not even in here. See, now it's not a partial mystery anymore, because the whole thing has been exposed, just like the whole moon becomes exposed after it becomes a half moon. Then it becomes a 3/4 moon. Then it becomes a whole moon, and you can see the whole thing. No more guessing, no more mystery. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're going to explain that back to me next week. Okay. All right, any last words to all of the people out there in listener land?
I'll tell, but I'll also show.
Say that one more time.
I'll tell, but I'll not show. I'll show. Like I'm gonna show and tell right now.
Show and tell. Okay, so you're not going to be a partial mystery to your audience. Okay, good. And one day we're going to invite a few people in from your audience. They're going to have to be like in your age group. And we're
So like it's not gonna be a one-on-one anymore, or like what?
Say again.
So it's still good. Like, is it gonna be like a one-on-one?
Oh, it's going to be a one-on-one until you turn like 55. It's going to always be a one-on-one. But every now and then we're going to have a special class that I'm going to stick in the middle of the week. And I'm going to say, okay, anybody out there who's been enjoying Mahdi and learning along with Mahdi, I'm going to give you, if I'm going to get the first 3 ones of you who email me, I'm going to give you access to this class on Thursday evening or something. It'll be a special class. Unless you ask me not to do that.
No, I know it's fine like this.
Yeah, you're at that stage now, man. You have a good command of this thing here, right? And I think people would think it was very special if they could just sit in and maybe ask you a question or something like that. I think that would be nice for people. You don't have to know how to answer all of it. I can't answer all the questions, but This is how you build friendships and other stuff with other people. You know, you got people in Australia and Bangladesh listening to you. UK in the UK, yeah. Yeah, you got some language fans in all of these different places in the world. Wherever my videos go, that's where your videos go. My videos go across the United States and across the globe and all that. That's where yours are going. Okay, sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do a review next week of everything we spoke about with the heifer and the calf and the cow and the bull and all that. And then we're going to go into part 2 of the meanings of dua. And then we'll talk about the word salat, a very controversial word from the Quran. And with that said, I bid you adieu. Another D, right? Adieu. Sound like dua. Okay. Lovely. I'm glad it's not half a heart where there's a mystery attached to it. Yeah. Mahdi's hiding some secrets in his heart. But I don't think so. You're a brilliant young man, and I appreciate you. So I greet you with the ultimate appreciation. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
And thank you for allowing me into your heart. All right. Hold on. All right. The end.